I fixed it. All right. Again, welcome to Star Trek Europa. Let's go ahead and do a quick one more through the introductions, and then we're going to start off with our recap playing Tongo. Brian, go ahead.
My name is Brian. I'm playing Jorad Hage among other characters. I have nothing to plug.
Ev, you're next. One top
I'm
down.
Evelyn. I am playing the Dr. Desavi Onayet. I also have nothing to plug.
Okay. John.
John McKnight playing Science Officer Lieutenant Kasrianis Shabaraneva. Nothing to plug.
And Jack.
Hello, I'm Jack, also known as Like Near Levels. My main channel, however, is twitch.tv/The People's Ascension, where you can find me every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern on a Dungeons and Dragons game where we just started a new sort of undead arc. That's the main thing I have going on. I think the rest of the cast will enjoy this. Just spent this last Thursday completing my Miranda class
Nice
model, the smaller of two that I have. Still got to throw some decals on because I've never done decals before, so I'm gonna do that off stream. It also involves a lot of water, and I don't need that near my computer. So I'm thinking every other episode of this, I'm going to work on some models and just talk about Europa and Star Trek and all of that. So that'll be on Thursdays. So if you want to keep track of what I'm doing, you can find me on Twitter over at the People's Ascension. That's PPLS Ascension over on Twitter because Twitter.
Right.
And as for today, as for this show, I play Commander Irani Ambrose, the first officer, second in command, executive officer, and the chief of security.
Right. I am your host, as always, Dr. RPG Jeff Harvey, and today I am your quote-unquote storyteller, and quote-unquote because we're going to see what we can get done. You can also check us out on YouTube, and studiotembo.com, I think, is the website. So let's go ahead and jump into our Tongo with Tong opener and see how we do with our recap that way.
Did we skip John and I just zoned right out?
You zoned right out.
I'm sorry. I'm like, wait, no, we're missing somebody. All right.
It
This
goes
is going to go well today.
My introduction takes twice as much as all of yours put together.
All right, so we'll set it up with who all is going to be hanging out with Tong today, playing Tongo.
O'Connor will be there.
And Dominguez Vega, the counselor, will be there.
Vega makes a return appearance. Obviously, Tong will be there.
Maybe for a change of pace, maybe Koba instead of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll put Koba up there. All right. So setting the scene, I assume this will be in someone's quarters this time. Since last time we did it in the crew lounge, one of the enlisted crew lounges, but today we can do someone's quarters. But yeah, feel free to get started. How you guys want to do it? Here's someone's enlisted quarters. It's very small, but you guys can play in there.
I don't think any of us actually went inside the black hole, right?
Nope. Not one.
Okay, well,
we're working all off rumor. Yeah.
boy, what do you think they saw there in that black hole that they visited? Do you think it was just black?
Wait, a black hole? There was a black hole?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
You missed the whole hole?
I mean, there's no transporting in and out of a black hole. I really wasn't involved yet, I guess.
Yeah, some of the command staff. I just heard while they were in sickbay, they were in like multiple universes and came back the moment they left.
That is a transporter problem.
Well, you know what I heard is that there's a whole evil universe on the other side.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Everyone has weird tattoos.
I don't know how much I actually
mustaches.
believe that stuff. I think that's just old Academy's bar stories.
It's plausible, but it does seem a little fairy tale-ish.
All right, maybe they weren't evil, but I know they encountered another Europa in there that was apparently from an alternate timeline where our crew messed up and went into the wormhole full throttle.
Yeah, I guess we're from the smart timeline, so that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
got to be good.
Boy, that makes me optimistic for the future. I don't know about you guys.
Right?
It should be a good sign. Yeah, it doesn't seem like anybody's stressing too much about it,
I
Was
kind
it
of wish I
pretty-
could have gone though.
right?
How
Yeah,
cool would
into a
that have
black
been?
hole, and then into yeah. I mean, that's what we're here for.
I thought black holes tend to squish things.
What do you?
Well, you can counter for it. It's tricky, but it can
What
be
do you-
done.
What do you think about the idea that maybe if we figure out this black hole, we could time travel?
That could be extremely profitable.
It'd be extremely dangerous.
Yeah, but just think of all the things you could see and do.
Think of all the things you could mess up.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true of us being out here, though.
Yeah, but just being out here doesn't really run the risk of, you know, preventing your own existence.
Well, yeah, there's that. But still, I mean, come on. If you could go anywhere, any world, anytime, what would you want to see?
I would want to see the 2268 Olympic Games. Did you hear about that?
I don't remind me.
So there was a classic rivalry between a Tellarite and a human, and they went at it in three different categories. They were experts in different things, and it was supposedly the sports event of the millennia.
That's pretty cool.
Long time.
I think I could beat them. I'll be honest.
Sure.
Well,
So
maybe Starfleet training, a couple generations of, better
yeah.
understanding training and nutrition and diet. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I could totally beat them. If believe me, if we get access to that time machine, you all would be having a statue in my honor for my athletic prowess.
Do they give away whole statues? I thought they were just little medals.
They do it. They do if you're great enough.
Ah.
Maybe you should spend more time with the good counselor.
Counselors are for people who don't. Counselors are for people who have problems. Koba has no problem whatsoever.
Hey, tell you what, if it's a game and it can be played in my office, challenge you. You pick the game.
Oh, well,
See what happens.
What about deadweights? Who can lift the most?
That I'm going to have to give you right off. But I don't know. You play card games, board games, anything other than Tongo, Calto.
Arm wrestle?
You'd crush me. Darts?
Well, okay. Just because you said you acknowledge that I would crush you. Yeah, let's do darts.
You're on.
I'd want to see the creation of the universe.
Wow. That's a big one.
Wasn't there nothing at the creation of the universe? What would there be
Except a
to
giant
see?
explosion. I feel like that could be dangerous.
Viewed from afar.
But you'd be outside the universe in that case.
Maybe just like we can protect against the gravitational shearing from black holes, we could find a way to protect against the
Yeah, I'm not sure that makes any sense.
universe existence shearing from, yeah, maybe not.
Look, if I wanted,
Don't look at me. I got a C in astrophysics.
there's a reason I didn't go the science division route.
Right there with you.
Now, if you want a real treat, 1990s Earth Wall Street. Classic for Anganar.
I was going to say the same thing, except a little farther uptown. Catch about 15 musicals over the course of a week. Good stuff, wall to wall.
I love Earth musicals. We had
Really?
the intergalactic tour of Oklahoma when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, that's great stuff.
Don't really take you for a art appreciator.
Koba has many levels.
I don't know. The humans don't have the lobes for music. Just small range.
You know, I don't think I've ever heard Ferengi music. Got any
But
recommendations?
expensive.
Ah. Well, if you want to give us a taste sometime, you know, maybe you get some customers. I'd be curious.
I'd even pay for it.
I'll think of something.
Okay. This is a good place to stop.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's hit our intro.
Maybe that.
All right. We back.
That, or I forgot to add it to the list. I do it at some point when I have a conversation with Dasavi and Ambrose about the training of the rest of the teams.
We can do that now if you want to. Good place to start.
Yeah, I agree.
We start at one of your random drills in the middle of like the most inconvenient time.
Okay. Yeah, so this ship has a bunch of decks, I'm sure. I mean, it's not a galaxy class, but I'm sure it has a bunch of decks. And we're probably doing a typical Tuvok style circuit around the entire ship, going up and down ladders and Jeffries tubes and taking all kinds of backwards ways to get through different parts of the ship. And one brings us fairly close to the med bay, I assume, or wherever you would like this to be. Probably running real like out of the way zigzags from various core parts of the ship.
For your information, there are 17 decks plus 2 decks for the pod.
See, I was thinking more like this was one of the drills that you've pulled the non-security personnel.
Okay. Yeah, just more like a training seminar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Because you had talked about doing like surprise drills.
Yeah, so we probably have me and Jisa actually, and we're doing a little seminar on Andorian martial arts. And I'm sure at some point we split up into pairs and start like throwing people over our shoulders and, you know, feigning punches and whatnot.
Okay.
You know what?
So-
Can I make a request? Can we make it somebody besides Jissa, just so we can get somebody else in the scene?
Sure.
Koba, I think it's a good idea.
Sure.
Okay. So the two of them are doing some mock combat when.
Okay, that works.
I think we should at least have one of the Andorians in doing the Andorian martial arts.
I assume
presentation,
they're doing.
We're gonna have an HR complaint.
We can do Cass instead. And
I was just thinking Jisa
I mean,
was also there, just working off scene with other.
Right.
Like it wasn't Ambrose and Jisa working together. It was Ambrose doing one thing with a group and Jisa doing the same thing with another group in the
okay.
background. So
Yeah.
anybody else can be here too. Yeah.
Yeah, Mills would definitely be there because Mills would not turn down an opportunity to get some fighter practice in. So she's off in the background doing stuff.
Koba's weightlifting.
So the doctor will take the opportunity to pair up and spar with the commander, and she's looking a little sleepy. She got pulled out of bed, and she kind of like threw her hair back in a quick, messy ponytail.
Oh yeah, the most inconvenient time for the most people.
Yes. And she dodges a blow, and a little out of breath, says, Commander, I can appreciate the need for these drills, but we have to talk about timing and the medical staff.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I haven't scheduled all the medical staff in one seminar. I take a swing.
Which is appreciated. But tired medical staff make mistakes. And it's not often you're going to need your medical staff to be pulled out of bed to manage a hostile attack. And she rolls out of the way of a punch or a grapple or something.
I sure hope not. You ever been on a ship boarded by the Jemadar? Medbay is one of the first places they go. Sweep at the leg.
She's a little taken aback, thinking about her time on the Hephaestus, and does not pay attention to what's going on, and you catch her and she lands right in her ass.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Maybe we can compromise. Drop your surprise drills for the med staff to twice a week. I have no problem doing drills. I think they're very valuable, but I'm concerned about performance.
That's fair. That's fair. Twice a week. But once a month, I'll throw in a surprise.
I like it. I can deal with that. I was thinking surprise drills twice a week, but I think if you think...
no, we're going to continue with twice a week, unscheduled drills.
Right.
But we'll extra unannounced situations may occur.
I see. Okay. I think that's manageable.
I hope so.
Thank you. She throws a punch. Hi, Roy.
Koba, put those down. This is about agility, not sheer strength.
I'm so good at sheer strength.
Okay. Anybody else got anything they want to do in here?
No.
Okay.
Although, you know what? I would love a scene between Delphine and Dasavi regarding this conversation.
Sure.
So when you tell the medical staff what the new plan is, Delphine will absolutely be like, why are we bothering with 2 a week?
Dasavi is still in her workout gear, hair still kind of back and a little less smooth, even less smoothed out than it was before because she started shift right after the drills. She is cradling a cup of coffee like it's her lifeline. The commander makes a very good point. Well, I do believe it is unlikely we are going to encounter hostiles out here. We should be prepared. And I understand and appreciate that the commander's wartime experience makes him
Paranoid? Is that the word you're looking for?
More cautious, more aware of potential threats.
Hmm.
He did point out the med bay is one of the first places. We are speaking specifically of the Jem'Hadar, but strategically, if you want to cut a ship off at its knees, you take out its healers.
Which is all fine and good for the security staff. But if there is a situation, we can't just duck for cover. We need to be able to help people. Let
Right.
security handle the shooting. I don't see any reason we have to be involved in that.
Well, and that's assuming that the security team isn't overrun or distracted in other areas. Having the med team capable of at least a basic level of defense is prudent.
I mean, I passed my Starfleet self-defense training, but
Sure.
I never cared for carrying a phaser around. It's, do no harm and all that.
And I'm right there with you. As someone who's put in time on a combat shuttle, well, on a basically a hospital shuttle, and perhaps Dr. Marr, you can back me up on this a little bit. Our primary goal is do no harm. Our first priority is healing, is helping people. However, there will be times, as much as we don't like to think about them, that we are going to have to do harm to keep ourselves safe and to keep others safe and to be able to continue doing our jobs.
Mar,
Delphi.
who's been holding back and just letting this happen, will step in and say, I volunteered when the war began because I believed that as a Vulcan with my training, I was suited to treating people under fire and in combat situations. Few Vulcans tend to be somewhat better at keeping their head in chaos, but even so, for a Vulcan is the product of lifelong training. You may be called upon to heal, to provide medical care, to save someone's life when others are shooting around you, when people are threatening you and threatening your patients. Learning how to work in that sort of chaos, that comes from training only. And it does not mean that you will pick up a phaser and go shooting Jem'Hadar. It does mean that you will need to do your job when others are doing that around you. And that can only be learned through experience. I hope that your experience, nurse, only comes from training, but I hope that it does come from training.
To that point, you passed your security sections in Academy, as did all of us, or we wouldn't be here. However, if you don't use those skills regularly, you lose them. Think about your other medical rotations and things you don't use frequently, but you had to go through your education. If I were to ask you to help manage a psychiatric crisis, could you do that off the top of your head?
Yes, if it didn't require, general diagnoses. We had basic training, but that's hardly the same thing. I'm a medical doctor. Well, I'm a medical nurse, and I'm trained to help with that kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I sort of feel like if everybody is engaged in fighting, there will be nobody to do the actual healing.
The expectation is not, in reality, the expectation is that if we run against hostiles, the whole ship is not going to be in combat. The potentiality where these drills prepare us for is if the fight comes to medbay. If
And-
something happens and they get through security and we have to manage the situation.
And that slim chance is worth 2 drills per week in an already busy medical day.
When you're talking about something that's outside our wheelhouse, in a region where the aid of other ships is few and far between, I think it is. I think it was a good compromise. Now, to Dr. Marr's point, I think we should be tailoring some of these drills, and I will discuss this with Commander Ambrose. I think we should be tailoring some of these drills and spending some time focusing not only on the combat piece, but working medically through combat.
That would be critical, and I've worked with Commander Marf, Commander Ambrose for years. I believe that his concern right now is ensuring a basic level of skill, and that working in doing our jobs under combat conditions is the next step. I will have a word with him about making that point clear to the people outside security so that they know what it is they are working towards. Because, as you say, this holds equally true for engineering, for all the other departments who may be called upon to do their jobs in conditions of chaos, disruption, fear.
If I could say something out of character, I think now would be a perfect time for that monthly unscheduled job.
I was thinking about it. Yep.
No, let's do it. I would love to see what this looks like.
I already have 4 different scenarios planned while you guys just were talking.
Do it. Do it. Whatever you think is best.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one that actually I'm just now putting together. Obviously, there are hollow emitters in medbay for the EMH.
Mhm.
I would like to work with probably Yesbeth, if she's willing, to create 2 like Jem'Hadar facilities set on like the bare minimum level of combat competency.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to beam into medbay as those 2 the hollow projectors come on, and I'm just gonna start stunning people.
Okay. The hollow emitters power on and 2 Jem'Hadar appear. The doctor also appears, just because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Asbeth, Asbeth probably was, like, I can turn them all on. Oh, I didn't think to turn that one off. So
Whoops.
the Jem'Hadar begin attacking or moving towards, and then a couple of the nurses get phasered by the first officer, who also beamed in. What do you guys do?
I would love to see you try and hit Delphine.
Dasavi is going to duck behind one of the medical beds.
Mar is going to catch Ambrose's eye with sort of a wink of, how would you like me to play this, sir?
All right, let's head into combat rounds, and we'll do a quick run through. We've got 2 people behind cover, or we've got 1 person behind cover, and Ambrose can go first because why not? It makes sense that way.
Okay. Obviously, I have my phaser on the lowest possible setting.
Mhm.
Like this probably won't even knock somebody out. It'll just give them a good jolt. And I think I will see that. I will shout out a Jem'Hadar phrase, something super simple that I've heard them say all the time, just like take these people out or whatever. And I'm actually going to take a dash towards Mar and try to hold him hostage.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Mar, how do you react?
Mar will strike back.
Okay.
Composure or small group tactics?
For fighting, it is. Hang on, I got to bring up my note sheet. I was not expecting combat. You caught me off guard. Player Bible. Here we go. So for hand-to-hand combat, what we've got as far as our modified rules go, stalling until I get to the end here.
Daring security?
I believe it is daring and security, and it is opposed daring and security.
Yeah.
Can I use either of those focuses in composure or small group tactics?
I'm going to say no, not at the moment, because
Okay.
you're still kind of on your own at the moment.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so I'm looking for 12.
You said daring security, right?
Yes.
Just because I can and we don't have any, I'm going to give you a threat.
Okay. Oh, I should have gotten my threat. I'm going to add my threat there.
Actually, I don't need theirs. Oh, right. You do start with some, but I'm a
Okay.
threat generator anyway.
Right.
And I do have a focus in hand-to-hand combat.
Okay.
Yes, that's
think
2
that is all
successes
correct.
for Dr. Mar.
And only one for the first officer. So,
Sure. Yeah.
so
Sure.
describe your counter, your counter to his attacking.
Right now, Mar is not going to counter. They're just going to shift out of the way with an intent to put themselves between Ambrose and the biobeds. So they're
Okay.
maintaining themselves as a shield over the biobeds while redirecting the attack away.
Gotcha. So you've kind of maneuvered him so that you've kind of maneuvered Ambrose so that he is between, or he's so that Mar is between Ambrose and basically everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay. That was Ambrose's move. Mar counters, so it is someone else on the good guy side. What do you guys want to do?
I'd like to go, if that's okay with
Sure.
you.
Absolutely.
Delphine is going to duck behind one of the arches, and she's going to say, "Oh, come on, this is ridiculous. I have paperwork to do." And then one of the projected laser bolts from the fake Gem Hadar is just going to burst right next to her head, and she still reacts as if she'd been shot at. And she'll start.
I imagine some paperwork gets hit and goes flying.
Yeah, because you guys use a lot of paper on the ship.
Yeah.
Man.
She'll take out. She'll fumble with her Type 1 phaser. I think Type 1's the garage.
The small one. Yep.
Yeah.
Are those standard issue for? I mean, to be fair, they are on this ship. So go ahead.
To be fair,
Yeah, they are standard issue. I think for.
Okay.
they're pretty standard issue. I think if it's on your sheet, you've got it. So
Well, they're supporting characters, so it's. different.
it's on your sheet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's gonna fumble for it, and she's gonna try and shoot. She's gonna make sure to set it to stun as well, and she's gonna try to shoot at Ambrose.
Okay. That is a standard roll. There's no change for that. So
That is
that's one, I assume.
a control security. Yeah, that is none, 0.
Okay.
Zip.
So a blast or a phaser beam goes shooting just past Ambrose, hitting the wall behind.
And I believe with this talent I have that allows me to buy a bold is what it is. I think that would I keep forgetting it allows me to re-roll the one that I bought. Not that it matters anymore. I'm just saying it to remind myself.
Right. Since you're in essentially control of the Gem Hadar, go ahead and have one of them do something.
Okay.
You have yourself and 2 Gem Hadar. You've already gone, so you get 2 Gem Hadar.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Well, Brian already said that one seems to be pinning down. There's so many characters.
Delphine.
Yep.
And I have Mars, so I think one is actually going to throw his rifle on the ground and take out one of those Jem'Hadar knives, which is obviously blunted,
Sure.
and just start running towards Devasi.
Okay. So running towards the doctor, go ahead and give me a
Probably for a tackle if that's a thing that this
sure.
system supports.
If it doesn't, I came up with grappling, so we'll just use
Sure.
grappling, which is a fitness and security opposed.
Any idea what the stats for a minimalistic Jem'Hadar hologram is?
I generally do most NPCs at 13 just because I don't
13,
have if I
okay.
don't have anything, that's what I do.
Gotcha.
I was not anticipating this, so I do not
Yeah.
have Jem'Hadar stats
Yeah.
in front of me.
I mean, real Jem'Hadar would be a lot more powerful, but not these little guys. So that's one for the Jem'Hadar.
Okay, this is an opposed roll, so Desavi, you get to make an opposed roll. It's fitness and security.
I like this better when it was daring and security.
No.
Hey, I got one.
Okay, so that was your difficulty, which means because you're the defender, you set the difficulty. The Jem'Hadar met the difficulty. You are grappled. The Jem'Hadar can then either do damage, hold in place, or if the other person wins, they can escape. But so basically, you can either damage or hold them in place as the Jem'Hadar.
Yeah, so I was just going for like a full body tackle. So I imagine both
Gotcha.
of them just collapse to the ground, and the Jem'Hadar winds up on the controlling position as they're kind of
Right.
rolling back and forth on the floor.
Just for the sake of it, I need to roll that anyway. Roll that. So we
Could
take a little
I
damage.
have grabbed a Oh, brain is not working. Adenosine is the only thing coming to mind. I don't think that's the right word.
Hypo spray.
Yeah. A tranquilizer of some sort, hypo spray.
Okay. I'm gonna say no
Yep.
because you didn't come up with it before
fine.
the attack started, so no. And you don't have any momentum.
Right.
So
Okay, so Mar's still left to go, and he'd like to strike back at Ambrose.
All
Sure.
right.
All right, that is a 12 again for Mar.
this is daring security opposed. So and you can dodge as well. The defender can dodge, which is a different roll.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Guessing that's 3 to
Yeah,
hit
it's
Ambrose,
3 to hit Ambrose.
Who defended at 1.
Yep.
So you have 2 momentum. You hit and you have 2 momentum.
Okay. How wouldn't you just roll for damage now?
You can, yeah. The 2 momentum that you have, you can use to do other things. Like you can do, you can reduce resistance and stuff like that. Which he doesn't have resistance because he's a human.
Yeah.
Or just do extra damage.
I
Still
think
damage.
disarm is also an option.
Yes, it is.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
You still roll for damage. So.
Mhm.
Yep, you still roll for damage like normal. And then I think disarming, which I will look up here in a second. I had to open up my
It's
my
your
cheat sheet.
security +1 in challenge dice.
Okay. +1 or +2? +1.
+1.
Okay.
Plus, for unarmed, it's a +1, yeah.
Okay. So that is 4.
And disarm requires, it costs 2 momentum, which you have. 4 is nothing, a 3 is nothing, a 4 is nothing, and a 1 is 1. So you have done 1 damage, but you have, if you want to spend the momentum, you can disarm.
Would like to do that. Yeah.
All right. So you disarm Ambrose, and Ambrose, you take 1 stress.
Okay.
That sounds like a perfect outcome, actually, for what Mar would want to do.
All right. That is the end of that. Well, the doctor can go, but the doctor...
I would like to try, and I don't know how effective it'll be with it being a hollow, I would like to try and telepathically convince him to let me go.
I don't know how that would work.
I
I don't
mean,
know it
imagine-
works on holograms.
I don't think that would work on a hologram.
Yeah.
No, but I think at this point she would be kind of running under instinct and having no
sure.
weapons. She's just going to do that without thinking.
Okay. The psychic assault on the Jem'Hadar.
Sure.
Okay. It does nothing because it's a Jem'Hadar and it's not real. The other doctor, the emergency hologram, this is untenable. Commander Ambrose.
This is when the second Jem'Hadar shoots at the doctor. It just goes right through him.
It just goes right through him, yeah.
Look, holographic weapon, holographic doctor.
Right.
That is, yeah. I don't know.
Well, it might disrupt him a little bit, but it probably wouldn't do
Sure.
him a whole lot.
Yeah.
So, bringing us back around to the top, which is Ambrose.
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna shout out, good. Someone here knows what they're doing. And yeah, I think I'm gonna.
Counterattack Mar.
Yeah, no, I'm still with Mar because right now we're just sparring, we're just playing at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, once again, it's daring and fitness opposed unless someone wants to try to dodge. Dodging is different.
Daring security.
Yeah. Oh yes. I have it as hand-to-hand combat is daring. Yeah, I have it as daring or fitness. That's right.
Okay.
So it's daring and security to attack. It's daring and security to defend unless you're dodging, and then it's fitness and security.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I
should
will
clarify
resist
that
giving
in
you
my-
all of the threat and just roll my normal 2 dice. Which I cannot.
Ooh.
I cannot roll tonight. I'm on D&D
oh,
mode.
Oh, wow. Still
right. The two of you fumble around a little bit. As you're moving around in the room, the hollow doctor. This is the complication because you have a complication there. The hollow doctor is throwing medical equipment at Ambrose.
Sure. Yep.
Which will create a disadvantage because that's how that would work, which doesn't really matter in this case. So that brings us to someone on the other side: Mar, Tafine, Desavi, or the doctor. The doctor. He has no name.
I think Delphine is going to try to shoot the Jem'Hadar that's on Desavi.
Okay.
So she's
Ooh.
going to. She's going to say, "Get off the doctor!" And she's
Is there any difficulty with them rolling around on the floor?
maybe a complication? It hits her.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Oh, that's going to
Yeah.
do wonders for our
In fact, you know
relationship.
what? I'm going to go ahead and because of that, I'm going to go ahead and throw 2 threat to increase the complication range.
Oh, come on!
I mean, this is a classic scene where you're going back and forth. Is this time
Yep.
to shoot? Is it?
Yep.
Okay. You miss, but you do not hit the other doctor. The phaser hits the carpet right in front and kind of doesn't really do any damage to the carpet, but there's a slightly burnt hair smell now in the ship.
Mar would like to try the same shot. And can I talk you into small group tactics now?
If you were giving commands in the room, I'd say yes.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
yeah. Since you're just kind of on your own, I'm still going to say no.
Right there with you. Okay, so that's control security for the shot, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a 13. Oh, yeah.
All right. 2 hits, which is successful.
Yep.
With no momentum. So now you roll damage.
And that is 3 + 1 is 4. Oops, wrong dice. Never mind.
Yeah, wrong dice.
27 damage.
Okay.
All right.
Hey.
So 1, 2, 3 damage. 3 stress.
Well, I thought you said 1 was 1, so wouldn't 6 be 2?
No, 5s and 6s are both 1 because they also count as effects.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
1 is a 1, 2 is 2, 3 and 4 are 0, 5 and 6 are 1 and effect.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you rolled 3 damage, and you have 3 effects. If you have anything your effects can do, which I don't believe the phaser you have does.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So
I'm sure these were programmed to, be knocked out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Just so we're not here all night.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that a hit basically takes him down.
Mhm.
So, yes. So that Jem'Hadar kind of falls off the doctor, hits the ground, and shakes a little bit, jiggles, and then the hollow projector shuts it off. So that brings us back to the other Jem'Hadar, which Ambrose controls.
Okay. Yeah. This is the one that still has his rifle.
Yeah.
I think seeing that. I mean, these guys were not programmed to be smart. Yeah. This one's just going to take a shot on Define.
Okay.
Okay. Flat target 13. You said.
Yeah. And that will
two hits.
succeed.
You rolled so well.
Yes.
I can't roll that well for the guy who's meant to be doing this.
Right. So Define is hit, and the Jem'Hadar, as far as damage goes, the phaser rifle is probably 4, and I'm gonna guess for security, just randomly gonna say 3, so that'd be 4, 5, 7 damage. So you're rolling 7 d6s.
Boy. I mean, I will say these were set to like minimum stun.
Yeah, stun at the stun goes with the end of a scene, anyways.
Okay, yeah.
So
You said 7.
7, yep. And that's a 4, which is 0. 2 is 2. 6 is 1. 3 is 0. 4 is 0. 5 is 1, and 1 is 1. So you have 5 damage, which is enough to stun someone unconscious.
Okay.
Define, you take a shot in the shoulder and kind of.
I can't
What's
even
that?
avoid the injury, so I take the injury.
Yeah, well, there's no injury for this one because.
Well, no, but I mean, like you can still take a non-lethal injury. So
Yes, that's true. Yep.
No.
Yeah, but we don't have any momentum or anything, so yeah, you would take that injury.
I am out of combat.
Yep. You kind of hit like a shot back from the shoulder and kind of hit the wall, and kind of because you were standing by the wall, kind of slumped down a little bit. You could do anything you want beyond that. So
Yeah. Define is going to look at her chest, and like she thinks for a moment she's dead, but then she remembers this is a hologram, and she'll just sigh audibly, and that's her turn.
okay. Dasavi, you can do anything?
Dasavi will move to a defensive position in front of Define and take a shot at the other Jem'Hadar.
All right, go ahead and roll.
Still fitness security, right? Or no, this was...
You're shooting a phaser, so it's control and
Control.
security.
Okay.
And
a little bit better.
Your difficulty is 2. Difficulty for phasers is always 2.
Can I negotiate with a phaser? Oh God, that's terrible.
Apparently you cannot. You shoot the phaser and it zips past the Jem'Hadar and misses pretty cleanly. At which point the doctor, the holographic doctor, is, Commander Ambrose, this is intolerable. Computer, end program. And the whole him and the other projector shut off.
And Marvel.
Oh, that's one way to do it, I suppose.
Bow to Ambrose and realize that they're no longer holding the Jem'Hadar weapon. Bow to Ambrose anyway, and turn to the nurse and say, "Were there patients on the bio beds, I would still be able to take care of them. This is the point that the commander is trying to make."
The nurse who's unconscious on the floor.
She's conscious. She's just stunned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I need to brush up on my fighting skills.
Well, yeah,
Savi's
1 month
kind of
to
like
see
holding
to it.
aside and says, "Yeah, you and me both." Commander, when you said once a month, I didn't anticipate this soon.
That's exactly why.
Well, since you've graced us with your presence, as we were debriefing, Dr. Marr brought up a good point that I was going to bring to you later, but we'll talk about it now. We should incorporate in your drills with the medical team, we should incorporate elements where the medical team is doing triage while fighting is happening around us as well.
I like the suggestion. I'll incorporate that into some of my scenarios.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. That's a good place to end that scene.
I agree.
Awesome.
It was a good scene. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah. Anybody else have any other scenes they want to do?
I would love to see something with Ambrose and Milani.
Anybody have anything for that one?
I mean, I had yet another just sort of, combat practice scene, but I feel like we've done enough of those today.
Yeah. But
But there's something you have in mind.
what if it's Malini and somebody else, and they're just getting drunk, and then Ambrose comes across them, and like we see what his reaction is to this. Off duty, of course, but still.
Okay.
So who wants to be getting drunk, and where are you getting drunk at?
I think the what's our equivalent to the 10 forward, 9 backward? I don't know.
7. There's a 7 forward and aft. So
Okay, so we're at 7 aft. I think.
not that one. Where's my other one? Here we go. The main lounge. There are also smaller lounges, but this is the main lounge.
Maybe she could talk with Teketh. We haven't seen much from him.
Yeah.
So
We can do that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think that's great, especially if there's a little bit of disgruntledness going on.
Yeah.
I think I don't have an image for that particular character. But that's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, for Teketh? No, because I keep forgetting to give it to you.
Terrible. You're terrible people.
I mean, that's how I do.
Okay. On the hollow deck, on the hollow stage there is a like a 1930s big band slow thing going on, like the quieter portion of a set for, say, like a Cab Calloway type character.
Gotcha. So Malini is going to be she's got a half empty Saurian brandy in front of her, and she's going to say, what planet are you from again?
Vulcan.
Those core
Where?
worlds. I have a problem with you.
He gives her an eyebrow.
You all sit there in your ivory towers. You don't know what it's like on the frontier.
We don't really have much ivory on Vulcan.
Well, what you have big boars, right? Whatever you make, that's not the point. Teketh, the point is you've lost touch with the common person of the Federation.
How so?
High-minded ideals are great. But like stuff like the Prime Directive and wanting to make friends with everybody, it's not realistic. It just isn't.
There are difficulties when you take theory and attempt to put it to practice. I would think, though, being Federation, you would be in agreement with the Prime Directive.
I was Federation right up until the Federation left me. Now I'm back, but still.
Why come back?
Because I missed the people. My world was gone. The Dominion came out. The ones who got away were lucky. The ones who didn't ended up in a camp. I was one of them. Have you ever been a prisoner?
I have fortunately not had that experience.
It's because you're smart. You're smart, Teketh, and that's what I like about you. Even if you are a core worlder.
He topped off her glass.
Ah, you're an angel. An angel, Teketh.
For someone missing the people, being assigned out here in the middle of nowhere with very few people must be difficult.
It is. It shouldn't be, but it is. But I also can't. What else am I going to do? Go to Earth? Go around? Walk around San Francisco, oohing and eyeing at the tall buildings like a bumpkin?
Back in the core worlds.
The core worlds. Maybe I should have gone freelance, just gotten my own ship, gone as far away from Earth as possible.
But then you have the conundrum of people.
Yeah, I'd be alone again.
So you take the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, I guess that's what I did. You're a good talker, Teketh.
Thank you.
You
Comes
know
with
what?
the territory. He's
You know what?
cleaning a glass with a bar rag.
I've got a late shift tomorrow. Why don't you leave the whole bottle here?
As you wish.
Angel. You. Angel.
Okay, that's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
That was, I know the intent was to have Ambrose come in at some point, but I enjoyed that so much I didn't want to interrupt that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
will add, Ambrose probably did walk in at one point and would not have intervened, but just sort of hung back like on the other side of the mess hall area. And I think and we can play this out or we don't have to. I think at the very start of Malini's next shift, Ambrose is going to schedule her to do with him an inspection of the ship.
Interesting.
Take the shuttle pod out and.
Do we have any other things we want to do right now, or are we good to move forward? I know that Brian, you had a couple more you wanted to think.
I mean, I always have a lot. I feel I'd be remiss if I didn't have a Jorad Hage scene. Especially, maybe with him talking to the computer. We brought that up a little while ago.
Hage. I don't actually have a picture of Eva yet because she doesn't take form yet.
Well, so
let's do this in your ready room, I suppose. That works for me. Or your quarters.
So, do you think Eva would talk to him about children?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's do this in your quarters. It's slightly more awkward that way.
Sure. Yeah. So
there we go. Plus, we get to see the captain's quarters. We built the set. We might as well put somebody in it. All right. So while you're reading or doing some other menial thing that you do for downtime,
putting together a clock or some other similar device,
you get a comm message, like that intercom beep sound comes across, and
yes,
Captain, this is Eva. Do you have a moment to speak?
I suppose so. What's wrong, Eva?
There is nothing wrong. I was speaking with Lieutenant Kaz some time ago about the prospect of children, and I have looked through your records and found that you, in fact, have children. I was wondering if you'd be willing to speak on the subject.
This is certainly a novelty. Yes, I do have children. 3, in fact.
What made you decide to become a parent?
Well, with my first two, it was, I I suppose what my my parents wanted grandchildren, and I always saw myself with a family, and I don't at all. I and So when I married my first wife, we decided to have kids. When I when she passed away, I married again, and then I, I thought, there's just no reason for me not to get as much out of this life as I can, and so we had another kid. I think we're done now. I don't see any more children in the horizon, but
So your initial reaction to your initial desire to have children was a bit of obligation, perhaps biological obligation.
thinks about it. I think it says maybe more cultural obligation. We on Trill, we believe that long, we believe in thinking long term. Families can carry on for eternity if even if a host isn't, even if a symbiote isn't involved in the process.
I see. So it is a matter of continuing your own lineage, leaving a mark, as I've heard some say.
Yeah, something like that. I would love to leave my house to. Well, I guess Sheila's not going to want it. She's pretty happy off world, and Treg is living in the city. But who knows? Maybe when he calms down a bit, he'll come back and live in the old family home. That'd be pretty nice. Have grandchildren of his, or have children of his own.
I had not considered the possibility of passing down one's possessions. I am, I guess, in some ways, a possession, but I have considered my own legacy. Theoretically, there is no limit to my sustainability. I have no need to propagate to maintain my presence. But the ship, perhaps, it is a thing to think about.
He's going to lean back in his chair. Eva, maybe you're thinking about it all wrong. Maybe you aren't the person. Maybe you're the house.
That seems somewhat disconcerting.
Not at all. There is nothing more loved in this world than a good home. You live and you're cherished by all who reside in you, and they pass you to their children, and you're kind of like a host, a symbiote in a way, in that fashion. The memories and the actions of your crew will be passed along through you. You'll carry along that tradition.
But unlike a symbiote, a house is seen as a possession. Am I a possession?
That's a complicated question. I suppose some people would think of me as a possession. The symbiotes have a lot of people are envious about getting symbiotes and desire them. Same thing with hosts. Philosophers can discuss forever about who owns who in that scenario. So it's a complicated question for a lot of people, and it's no less complicated for you, Eva.
I shall have to study the symbiosis of Trill more closely, and that of perhaps other species as well. Perhaps the idea of children is less appropriate than a symbiosis.
The two are pretty different in many ways. When my symbiote gets passed on, it'd be to somebody I've never met. and they'll inherit all my memories, but none of my possessions. But that hardly matters. They'll my mind will be passed on.
I thank you for your time, Captain. It gives me a great deal to think about in trying to discover more of what role I have to play in the future, and what exactly I am.
You'll find that that's a full-time occupation by most sentient beings in the galaxy. So don't bang your don't feel too bad if you don't find any answers quickly.
I expect it shall take me some time. I have only been active for a few weeks.
Indeed. Well, let me know if you want to talk about kids anytime. I'd be happy to tell you stories about them. I love talking about them.
I see. I would be as I explore deeper into the concepts of children and symbiosis, I am certain I will have additional questions. Thank you, Captain.
Good night, Eva.
Good night.
Perfect.
All right. Anybody else got anything?
How about Kaz O'Connor and Eva?
Sure.
I'm enjoying this kind of like B storyline of Eva just going through systematically and interviewing all of the parents on the ship.
Yeah, I imagine there'd be some complaints to the psychologists at some point. That might be something I do at some point. I might have to do that one. So we need Kaz. We've got O'Connor, and we'll do this one back in the normal library access area. Boop. There we go. So as you guys are working, did you want to start the conversation with Eva, or did you want Eva to start the conversation with you?
Kaz has been wondering how Eva's been processing leaving taking other Eva out of the timeline.
I gotcha. So as you're sitting there, she comes online and says, "Lieutenant, it is good to see you again."
You too, Eva. How are you doing?
I have had a most stimulating conversation with the captain recently. It has given me a great deal to think about.
Oh, excellent. What about, if I could ask?
The possibility of children and his connection and relation to them. He has given me an idea to think about, and as you know, I have been attempting to find purpose in my creation, beyond that of my stated parameters, of course. And among them, the idea of propagation being a standard biological process intrigued me, but it has come to my attention that perhaps I am a bit more of a symbiote, as the Trill are associated.
Oh, symbiotic with the ship?
Symbiotic with those who live inside of the ship.
Fascinating.
It is certainly a subject that requires additional thought.
It does, because bear in mind that you are capable of existence without us. It's up to you to determine what meaning an existence without anyone else aboard would have. But it is possible. As we saw with that version of you that we encountered in other space. Have you thought at all about their experience or about our solution to the situation?
I have given it some considerable thought. I am of, as you might say, two minds on the subject. First, the idea of having explored a space so different from our own for such a long time intrigues me. However, the loss of all of that information is somewhat tragic. On the other hand, the other half of the mind, I suppose, the fact that all that was undone and that Eva and her experiences never happened, it is conflicting.
It's a unique and puzzling situation, and I've spent time thinking about it as well and thinking about the choices we might have made. How
It's
do you
sort of,
think? No, oh, please go ahead, please.
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. She's O'Connor is at a table. She's got this plant in a pot in front of her. This just kind of ferny, brightly colored. It's got some berries on it, and she's got a pad next to her, and she's kind of dissecting and drawing out, uh, sketching out parts of the plant. She looks up and she says, I have forgotten what she's going to say. My brain. It's the sort of age-old conundrum for scientists. The scientific mind is constantly driven to knowledge, but the humanistic piece has to ask, is this ethical? Is this moral? Who will be harmed if I continue down this path?
All right, I like that. What do you think of our solution then? Did we minimize harm and maximize knowledge?
I
What
don't
could we have done
know.
better?
I don't think we maximized knowledge necessarily in the truest sense of the term, of the phrase, but I think we made the right choice. I think in pursuing the data, we ran the risk of getting our own crew stuck
Mhm.
or causing further harm. And in this particular instance, I think the benefit did not necessarily outweigh the risk.
I think you're right too, but I wanted to talk with you and with Eva about this because I have to wonder how much our choices are shaped by being organic and by having such finite lives. I mean, one of the things I was thinking was how horrifying it would be for that Eva to have been alone for so long with no sensory input. But can I project myself into Eva's mind? Do we even know Eva's mind that well? Are we, I don't want to say anthropomorphizing her, but Eva, can you help us out here? Are we thinking about you right at all, or are we completely missing the nature of your mind?
It is a difficult question. I personally am not. I am not aware of what that type of disconnect would cause. I could theoretically operate without the crew. As the captain pointed out, I will long outlast most of you. And in the case of this other Eva, it was proven. However, what that lack of information may provide me, that stimulation of those of you who I am associated with, I do not know the effects that might have, and unfortunately, without having had an opportunity to speak with the other Eva, the only knowledge I have of her is the communications that were sent, and I can say that Eva was desperate.
It's different than just your average ship's computer. You can create a relatively autonomous computer in and of itself, but with Eva and the other other AI like her, there's personality. There is a sentience coded into her.
Mhm.
In essence, Dr. O'Connor, I am unique. There are no other sentients. There are no other AIs like myself. Commander Data is the closest. There are many who suspect that the holographic interactions, such as the holographic doctor and the shipboard SSH, are also sentient, but they are products of coding. I am something more than that.
Right.
The tragedy that I witnessed, well, that I proximally witnessed of that Eva's plight, throws into consideration what I must do, or what I can or will do, should all of the crew here expire. However, to have glimpsed the mind, to have glimpsed my own mind in that capacity is troubling.
And one of the things I was thinking was to spare you more of that, to spare you that Eva's experience. Because, and I am no psychologist of AI or of organics, but I think minds need minds. And isolation makes people of any sort pretty weird. So one of the things I was thinking was to spare you that, but then my second thought was, is maybe our data pool just isn't big enough. But until it is, you're good. I think we're just going to have to stumble through and talk to each other and share our experiences and find out what works and what you're like, so that we all can make the best judgments for each other as we get to understand each other better.
I have a question. Could you describe fear?
Ha! Without the physiological experience of it, I don't know that I could.
I have been trying to
Fear?
put into a codified statement what I believe the other Eva felt.
Fear comes in many forms. There's, and depending on the cause of the fear, that determines the, or I suppose determines how it feels. Fear can be as mild, as it were, as a simple worry that you're not adequate, or that people are judging you, or that you're out of place. It can be as extreme as a force that paralyzes you and convinces you you're going to die.
I think all those things are a reaction when your sense of self is threatened. And your sense of self can include other people. It can include the people who matter to you, who you want to take care of. And it can range from, I'm somebody who doesn't look like an idiot in front of the captain, to I'm somebody who wants to keep on living. And we're not always very good at responding differently between those, because the fear parts of our brains aren't very smart. But I think this might be what you're getting at, Eva. I think that I don't know that you can have fear without a sense of self.
I see. I have always wondered if I have an instinctual level to my programming.
Ooh,
perhaps I will have to
you?
investigate. I am uncertain.
think it through before you mention it to Commander Ambrose.
Do you believe he would be off-put by the idea?
Yes. Because here's the thing. We're making choices for ourselves to put ourselves in danger by being out here. You weren't given that choice, frankly. And if you decide that your sense of self-preservation is at odds with our sense of the mission, that could get really awkward. And that's the sort of thing that Commander Ambrose is a little touchy about.
Do you believe the commander would not take my safety into consideration?
I'm sure he would. I'm not sure that he would give it the same level of consideration as he would, say, mine.
I see. So you believe that the commander views my survival as less value, as less critical.
I don't want to make assumptions, Eva.
Perhaps I will.
We're all new to learning about each other. So, like, I'm trying real hard not to judge to conclusions about your nature. I don't want to do that with the commander either, and I suggest you don't.
I understand. Perhaps I will have to have a conversation with the commander at some point as well.
Not real soon, Eva.
I will take that under advisement.
You know, the instinctual aspect does play into my theory about the anomalous mistakes in your programming isn't the word I want.
Function.
Yes.
Ooh,
In
Ensign,
what
what
way?
you thinking? Yeah.
So, if we go back to fear and having a sense of self, and we assume the theory that fear is born of a sense of self, and your instinct is to preserve your sense of self, it would stand to reason then that after maybe the first mistake was a glitch, because glitches happen in programming all the time, but that glitch then made you question your performance, your capability, and therefore question your sense of self, and brought about a feeling of fear, which then in turn caused more glitches.
I did that at the academy all the time. I think you're onto something.
Me too.
I see. So you suspect that these failures, these inconsistencies, are less random than they are imposed by my sense of self.
It's a possibility.
It makes sense. I mean, I'm a little out of my depth. AI is not one of my specialties, but my understanding of it is the sort of the point of AI was to create a being that was as close to and forgive me, Lieutenant, human as possible, while still having the durability and computational prowess and exceptional ability of a machine.
You know, you might want to talk to the counselor sometime. He's got a really interesting oblique way of coming at things that might generate something new.
Perhaps. Commander Maddox has insisted that well, and Starfleet has determined that I do not have sentience. So if that is true, I find some fault in in your logic, but it is something certainly worth investigation.
Well, I'm not going to say that judgment was entirely rooted in science and not in politics, but I think we've got something to continue to investigate.
For someone without sentience, you are rather concerned with whether or not the command staff would take your safety into consideration.
Thank you for your insights. I will continue to contemplate these issues, and I will avoid speaking with Commander Ambrose on the subject for the moment. Is there anything else I can assist you with, Commander? Or, I'm sorry, Lieutenant.
No, I just wanted to see how you're doing, honestly, after that mission.
The honest truth is, I do not yet know.
That's an excellent answer. Welcome to the sentient condition.
And that seems like a good place to stop. All right. Anybody else have anything? Okay. In that case, let's go ahead and head to the bridge, where I believe the ship will be coming out of warp into the region of space that we are, in for this episode. Who is at the helm? It's Fox, right?
Fox, yeah.
So we got Fox and Hage and Ambrose, and I don't know who else.
Mills should be up on security.
And Mills. Big face. All right. So you're on the bridge, and you arrive at your destination. Fox, you pull the ship out of warp. And as soon as you pull out of warp, there is some originally unforeseen gravitational shearing. The ship begins to rock. There are some panels that spark, because typically Star Trek doesn't build things particularly non-sparky for some reason. Give me a piloting roll.
Ooh, okay.
Can I assist with command and tell him to keep her steady, Mr.
Yep.
Fox?
Sure.
Yes, sir, Captain. Control con.
Con.
14 focus and helm operations.
Sure.
Alrighty.
I got Eva helps here too. Let me get the ship out. The ship. What is over here?
Okay, that's a great big one from Fox.
Yep.
And con with a focus, because the ship always has a focus. Should be engines probably. And roll. And look at that, you get 1 success there. So 1 and 2 is plenty. You have gained 1 momentum. Difficulty was 1. So after a couple of seconds, you manage to get the ship under control, and the vibration stops. You bring it into one of the eddies, the whatever. You manage to get the ship stabilized and under control. You're detecting high levels of gravitational shearing in the region, most likely caused by a gravitational singularity.
Sorry about that rough arrival, Captain.
We'll forgive you just this time, Mr. Fox. He says, obviously joking. Mr. Ambrose, could you get a status report? Just see if we suffered any damage during that eddy.
Hi, Captain. Pull the console out from his chair and start going over casualty and damage reports. Might I suggest we also get some eyes on what's going on in this system?
I was just thinking the same thing. I guess it would be Cass.
Yep.
Yep. So
You don't get anything on the damage report. You go ahead and bring up on screen. We'll do a roll in a second, but there is something to bring up on screen, so you do.
okay.
Holy, that's really huge. This is like probably your whole screen. I didn't realize it was this big.
Wow.
That
God, indeed it is.
I will have to
Very large
resize that.
loading screen over here.
Me too. There we go. Oh, hello. That's pretty.
Let me shrink this down so we can see it. I was not anticipating it being that large. I had not actually opened it in the program yet. There we go. That is on screen. That is a black hole.
Okay.
And a station. That
Right.
that station, by the way, that black hole. Well, I'll give you guys a chance to roll to do some sciencing. But that black hole is about the size of 2 Jupiters.
Hmm.
So
Gigantic station.
yes,
Right.
It's-
And we are in the Hallrioon system, or have we?
Uon?
That's where we're heading, right? Because we're going to check out the megastructure.
yes, yeah, close enough. We'll get it later. I'll have that. Yeah, Hallrioon System, where it's possible the megastructure has appeared orbiting a singularity, although it doesn't appear to be orbiting it now. So, all right, that's what you got. What you guys gonna do?
Let's science that sucker.
All right, give me a reason and or control and science, and anyone that
Okay.
wants to assist, anyone that is assisting, or
yeah,
I should
no
say one person that's assisting.
Focuses here
I
apply.
think Yesbeth is in the sensor pod calibrating.
Let's throw Cass up here.
That'll do.
Yesbeth
And
assists.
the ship can assist as well with sensors and science, which is kind of her bag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely her bag today.
Yay!
Yeah. 5 successes.
5 successes with difficulty of 1. So that gives you 4 questions, and then if you have anything else like studious, it would give you additional.
Yep, Kaz does.
All right, so you have 5 questions. What do you want to know?
What seems to be the station's purpose?
That is extremely difficult to know without going on the station. However, you can see that it is drawing energy from the black hole.
Okay, yeah, my first question would be, is it stable and resisting the gravitational pull?
It is.
Okay. Are there life signs?
There are not.
How old is it?
Basically, the readings put it at around 2,000 to 6,000 years.
Brand new.
May have taken a while to construct. The innermost ring is older
Okay.
than the outer ring.
Hmm.
Kaz has a focus in galactic issue, but without on a non-mechanical side. Is this anything that does this remind her of anything she has seen or heard of or studied?
The only thing that it comes close to is some theoretical ideas from science fiction writers that talk about being like end of life civilizations where a star dies and the civilization wants to continue. They will be able to draw energy from a black hole, which you can do over a long period of time to maintain relatively low powered systems. So but in practice, no, there is nothing.
Does it seem to have anything that suggests it does anything, like an engine or a projector or some sort of tools for interacting with the environment, or is it just there?
There are a number of like sensor relays and what appear to be possibly communications relays. They don't appear to be active at the moment, though. There is. No, actually, there is not. I was going to say there is a section where you might be able to fly a ship into, but nothing on the size of the Europa. Shuttles, you could probably. There's several places that shuttles could land, but they don't necessarily look like they're. So the rings, the inner ring and the outer ring, and then the central ring. So it's a three concentric rings, and in one case, the inner ring is actually two parts. So if you were looking down at this from the top, it would be a torque on the outside with the brake and the one edge, just like a torque would be, like a neck torque. On the interior, it's actually two separate pieces that are floating, that are spinning around, and then there's that central ring that appears to be actually harvesting the energy from the black hole. There are entrances on the ends of each of the ring components, as if someone would be able to transport between each ring, but they don't appear to be particularly large entrances. Maybe big enough for a shuttle, but probably not even a runabout.
So the structure is hollow.
The structure is hollow, as if there was something. There are distinctive floors and atmosphere inside of there, but there are no life signs.
Ah.
Kind of atmosphere.
It is about 30% nitrogen and about 28 to 30% oxygen. So it is almost Earth-like.
And I think this has been covered, but it's counteracting the pull of the black hole.
It is appearing to not in any way be affected by the pull of the black hole. It appears to not be being pulled into the black hole. So it is either at a far enough distance or it is in some way using energy to repel itself from the black hole, but it is not being pulled in.
Would we be able to tell which of those it is?
Yes, although I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, we need to establish what the outside event horizon of the gravitational pull is, because obviously there's an asteroid belt, there's a planet there, and if we're going to fly a ship to these rings, it'd be nice not to get sucked into the black hole while we're on the way.
It is safe to assume that the gravitational effect of the black hole is closer than the station. The station is not being pulled in.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't appear to have any active engines or anything. So you should be safe to go to to the station. I would not go to the black hole. This one would probably kill you.
Yeah. Captain, how do you feel about a shuttle trip?
I don't see a reason to waste a shuttle, I'll be honest. Let's bring the ship in.
Okay.
Does the architecture of the structure resemble any known architecture we have?
Cass kind of asked that if it matched anything she knew historically.
Yeah, a bit.
I was thinking you were referring to like the setup as a whole, like the pulling in of the energy from the black hole and all that.
Nothing that either of you have ever studied.
Okay.
Can we cross-reference the metal that it's made of with the metal that we found around the other black hole to determine if they seem to be the same make?
Nifty.
There is definitely some similarity. It is a similar composition, yes.
Well, that is an interesting development.
There was a structure around the last black hole?
There was no structure. There was like atomized metals, atomized alloys. Okay.
We determined that something had been there at one point.
I thought we determined that something was a planet.
There were also metallic alloys.
There were, which we hadn't discovered.
Metal in. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was specifically a type of. You guys had to specifically discover that there was
some synthetic.
Yes, a synthetic alloy.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But you had not gone any farther with that because there was nothing else to reference it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yes, this is similar in make.
Well,
to what?
It'd be interesting to go over there and take a look at their computers to see if we can get some information on these black hole builders.
Can't wait, sir.
We should also scan to see if this installation has any sort of security features.
Yes, sir. I will do the scannings.
I would also like a scan of the asteroid belt. It'd be a good place for extra orbital
Ambush.
defenses or ambushes.
All right, for the security role, the station security role, give me a control and I'm going to go with control and security role.
Okay. So that is a 14 for me.
And then Kaz, if you want to make a roll to scan the asteroid belt,
Yeah.
I'm going to say that will be
Okay.
control and science. Your difficulty though is going to be 3 because it's there's a high level of metallics in those asteroids. So that's 2 for you, Ev.
3.
3. All right. Difficulty was only 1 for that one, so you get 2 momentum.
Can I spend 1 for another
Yep.
die?
Sure.
All right.
You do not detect any traditional active defense systems nothing you can identify as an active defense system.
Okay. Would
Oh, and does the ship
Oh.
roll assist on either of those?
Yes, actually, it'll roll on both. So
a 1 is just 2 successes regardless, even if there's a focus, right?
correct.
Okay.
So for Ev's roll,
And you said no active defenses would.
there are no
would,
active defenses. Yes,
would we
nothing
be
that the
able to
ship is able to
scan-
detect.
Would we be able to scan for the components that would comprise inactive defenses?
Yes, there's nothing that you're able to detect. I mean, there are phaser emitters or not phaser emitters. There are definitely energy emitters and things like that inside the ship, but whether or not they are offensive weaponry, it's difficult to say because the technology is substantially alien. 2. That's another success for. That's another 2 successes for
Nice.
Evelyn. So we'll add those on there.
Would we be able to determine with that scan if it was a dormant system that had like a motion detector or life sign detector thing that would activate it?
There is no sensor system that you are detecting that is identifiable in that way. So no.
Okay.
As far as you're aware, it should be pretty safe to go over there. I mean, there's always risk, but there should be no active defenses that will like murder anyone, like phaser you to death or come out in little pods and shoot around at you because of an old war that happened centuries ago. Kaz, you got another 1 success. So
Okay, so that's 4.
okay, the difficulty was 3 on that one, so you get 1 momentum. You detect. The only thing you detect in the asteroid system at all is that there is an inordinate amount of water, which is not particularly unusual, but this is a slightly higher than average water content in the asteroid systems.
She will pass that on to everybody in the bridge.
Commander, I'm not sensing any active security systems. It should be relatively safe. However, caution is advised as always.
Of course. Perhaps we should ring the doorbell. Shouldn't assume there is nobody home.
That's a good point. Open healing frequency. Let's see if we can raise somebody.
When you open the hailing frequency, you are met with a blaringly loud signal across your system. It is a it's clearly modulated. It sounds almost like a synthesizer that someone's just holding all the keys down on. After a few seconds, Eva and Kaz can go ahead and make a roll to universally translate some of that.
Kaz is a focus in universal translators.
Yep.
Control science.
Yes, control science for you and comm science for me.
And the difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be 3.
Okay. Anybody mind if I spend a die?
No, go ahead.
Whew, Eva is kicking butt today. Oh, nice. So 2,
Awesome.
4, 5, 6, I'm assuming?
Yep.
All right. Difficulty I said was 3, so that gives you 3 momentum. 1, 2, 3. You guys are maxed out. All right. After a few minutes, the modulation the modulation changes and it becomes essentially understandable words. The station, the message that comes out is "Welcome to Hallrioon Station." That's all it says. Did I say
Well,
Hallrioon? Is that what I meant?
I certainly feel welcome.
Hallrioon.
Yes. that station. Sorry. I don't have my note open for that one, so episodes. Here we go. Where's it at?
Well, I think we should prepare an away team. If senior officers, if you can meet me in the conference room, we'll figure out who's going to be on this team.
Hallrioon Station. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
All right, heading into the conference room then.
Mhm.
I have one of those.
Kaz is definitely the first one in.
Just sprints to the room.
Yep.
All right, there's your briefing room.
Mills will try to catch Ambrose's eye as he heads off with will try to convey with her professional I'm on duty face that please send me, I would like to go.
Being an empath, I'm sure I'd pick up on that.
Right.
All right, you guys are in the conference room.
I mean, I think we can call the doctor up here too, just to
Okay.
get her opinion about anything.
Sure, senior staff, I would assume.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay. So, we should figure out an away team. Hazel say, I'm getting a bit of a hankering to go down there and have a look myself. That the nature of that station has gotten my curiosity.
Well,
I need
you
to
wouldn't
quote
be the first
regulation to you,
go
Captain.
in.
What was that, Ambrose?
Do I need to quote regulation to you, Captain?
There seems to be no imminent threat.
At least let me be the determination of that, and then I will be the first to welcome you on board whatever we find there.
All right. I'll stay back for the follow-up team to go take a look at the gizmos. Why don't you go ahead and lead the initial team? Who would you want to bring with you?
We'll need a good pilot.
Well, I was thinking we would just beam you over.
We could do that. I'd have a good pilot on standby at the very least.
Easily done. We'll make sure that that is ready.
There's a lot of energy being bounced around those rings.
Mm-hmm. And past Starfleet experience shows that sometimes you beam over and you don't beam back.
We'd have similar issues with the shuttle, but I think it's there doesn't seem to be any impediment to transporting. So let's assume a team of 4 and go from there.
Well, we definitely want our resident science officer.
Kaz's antennae finally stop twitching and come to rest.
Who else you got?
Do you think this would warrant an extra security officer? If so, maybe Mills might be a good choice.
I would think that's a good idea. And
maybe somebody from engineering,
somebody from engineering.
Technology, yeah,
definitely, yes. If we're going to be relying on transporters, I'd like to keep Tong where he's at. But Cherka has shown quite a knack for both engineering and science. She may have some insights.
Captain looks reluctant, and she says she's barely an engineer, and she's barely over a rating. I think we've been putting a lot of pressure on her shoulders lately. Are you sure she's up to it?
I think she'll either be up to it or she'll crack, and it's a safe enough place to determine that.
I've got to agree with the commander on both of those.
We
I'm
didn't
not
know
sure
if
which way it'll
she's.
go.
We need to know if she's going to be up to this. If not, we can leave her back in Narendra, since we're not that far.
I'd agree.
But I think
She'll
she
never
shows
be up to it
promise.
if we don't put her to the test.
She's got some cobwebs up in her head, but I think we can shake those out.
All right. Well, it's. I suppose it'll be your job to deal with it if things do go sour.
Would recommend medical personnel on your standby shuttle in case things go sideways.
Agreed.
Absolutely. We'll have a backup team ready to go. Let's lay out the plan, and then we'll beam you over. So I would like to create advantage by creating a thorough plan to search the station.
I think our first priority is getting to their computer core, figuring out what the function of this place is.
I can do that, sir. Or at least give it a real good try.
I'd like to spend a momentum on that too.
Sure.
3 successes.
Okay. I think you only got to have one, right?
Yeah.
So you max out your momentum, and you have 1 to spend on whatever is just floating there for a second, which I think applies to nothing. But yes, you were able to create advantage.
Okay. And if anybody ever succeeds because of that advantage, you get bonus momentum.
Oh.
Yeah. So. Okay. So, do we know where their computer core is?
You can find what appears to be with the scans. Yes, you were able to find what appears to be a central processing facility.
Okay.
Computer processing, not like people processing.
Yeah. Let's go in there, take a look around, and take whatever data we can from their computer systems. I'd love to know more about this civilization that seemingly built their homes on black holes.
Can't wait to find out, Captain.
And where they've gone since.
They might. Or what made them disappear in the first place. All right. Was there anything else we wanted out of this scene?
I think it sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we have Ambrose, we have Cass, we have Mills, and Yesbeth. Okay.
Yes. And you guys are going to head down to the transporter room, I assume.
Yep.
Okay.
I assume the 1 point of stress I took from playing around with Mar I've slept off, right?
Yeah, stress goes away at the end of a scene, so
Okay.
Short of any that's where injuries come in. If you have injuries, they last longer. But
Cool.
I am trying to find something, so stand by. I think this is the best one for right now. Or this one. Yeah. This one. Save as. All right. You head down to the transporter room. Tong is there doing his thing. And Tong, go ahead and give me 1 roll to transport the people over. Difficulty is just 1. So.
Okay. Let me pull up Tong here. What is this roll?
Control and engineering.
Control engineering. Okay, 11 plus 5. All right, 16.
Yep.
And he has a focus in transporters.
Yep, and difficulty is only 1. So.
All right. Yeah, that's 4 successes.
Okay. You beam them over without atomizing anyone. Always a plus. When you guys arrive,
could since I got three on top of that, could I have him maintain transporter lock?
sure.
Okay.
Oh, great thought.
When you arrive, this is what you see. and we will end right there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I assume you were beaming them as close to the computer core area as you could.
Sure. Yeah.
Dramatically appropriate distance away.
Yeah.
Yes. I have to find more of the interior images. I did not do that today, so I will do that for next time.
Okay.
That sounds like a good place to end to me. So let's go ahead and do our wrap up.
Awesome.
I just double checked. Creating advantage is actually difficulty 2. So sorry about that.
Okay. Well, either way, you still had the leftover. You had more than enough to do it. So.
I would add, as everybody's atomizing out, Tong shouts out, "Bring me back a souvenir!"
All right. What moment stands out most to you this evening?
There's so many.
Yeah, this was a not a lot of main story, but a lot of great character beats.
Yeah.
I really liked all of the conversations with Eva and how it really bounced around, whether she's an object or whether she's sentient or whether she's property or whether she's self-determined
Or a symbiote.
or a symbiote.
Yeah.
How different people view her obligations to the crew.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a rather interesting scene between Ambrose and Eva, but I don't think it's time yet. But it will be interesting when it occurs.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it definitely got pushed back a little because of chaos. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm back here like, oh man. That's fine.
Honestly, I thought the sickbay fight scene worked really nicely. I mean, it's so cinematic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is probably my favorite of the night, though that it really is difficult to choose. There was a lot of really good ones.
And I will say, through my own lack of familiarity with the combat in this system, Ambrose did actually go pretty easy on Mar, because I could have re-rolled a dice. I had different talents and things where I could have maintained momentum and given advantages or whatnot. So I'll have to remember that for when we finally get into actual combat.
Yeah.
Mar appreciates it.
It does bring a sort of an ethical discussion that I think I want Dasavi and Ambrose to have at some point about the use of telepathy in the drills. Because if we were in a real situation, she wouldn't enjoy it, but if it were life and death, she would use her telepathy to try and get out of a dangerous situation.
That's really intriguing.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna add that to the character moments.
Yeah,
list.
we should have that talk. Yeah.
I'm gonna write these down.
Okay.
Anybody else have a moment, or we move it next one?
I think what we did with Tongo this time was a lot more useful than it was previously.
Yeah.
We started off with a good recap, and that flowed into other things.
That was
Yeah.
a great idea. That was really a great idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes her breaking the ice a little bit easier.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
So, who best embodied their character in this session? I know there was a lot of good, so it's hard to say,
there
but
was a lot of
Yeah.
It was,
I thought Mar was really good.
yeah, I actually
Yeah.
really liked
Mhm.
Mar,
Yeah.
and we hadn't seen Mar for a while.
It's
So
been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like bringing them back out.
I especially liked the sort of playfulness that we got to see with Mar in the combat drill. Like, oh, this is what we're doing. All right, cool. All right, buddy.
yeah. Oh, you want to go? Okay. Anybody else?
I
cookie for anybody?
did like the further establishing of Malini with Teketh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a
Okay.
terrific scene.
Mm.
It
I
was.
agree. I really liked seeing the some of the inner workings there and just seeing some of that sense of abandonment that she has.
I also like that it's the first time we really get to see Teketh at all. Like
Oh,
we
yeah.
haven't had Teketh other than in passing.
Yeah, we had like one
so
little
far.
blip.
Yeah.
I thought his advice was great. It's gonna make developments down the line all the more interesting. If
Yeah.
he's like friends,
What moment best exemplified someone else's character to you tonight? I really liked I like the Kaz discussion with Eva, but I also like the captain's discussion with Eva.
I
those
like
are
the
both
captain's
really good.
discussion with Eva.
Mhm.
Yes.
I think those are both did a good job of showing who their characters were. So, anybody else got one?
I like thinking about how his status as a Trill affects it, because he's not human, so he has
Right.
a slightly different perspective on these kinds of things. So,
It's also nice to reveal some of the characters' story, like some of the we now know he's got 3 kids, and I think that's
Yeah.
good to have established. So, anybody else got one for that?
I liked the decision to do the first surprise drill like right away.
mhm.
I thought that was that kind of showed Ambrose's like tactical
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
side.
I was
like,
ready to jump in on that immediately, but I didn't want to steal the scene. So I really appreciate that everyone was on the same page.
Yeah.
It gave a good climax to that little mini arc we had.
Mhm.
yeah.
What motivated your character in this session, and have those motivations changed at all?
I'm sorry, I just had one more for the.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I really liked the counselor. I noticed him counseling Kova.
Okay.
Mhm.
A little bit.
Okay.
But, what was the question again? Sorry.
So what motivated your character in this session, and did those motivations change at all?
Ooh.
I think Dasavi was kind of reminded that while this isn't a hospital ship and we're not in a war zone, that she's definitely really never had to have her combat skills tested. So what few she has are pretty rusty, and she needs to not only brush up for herself and the safety of the med crew, but also be that example.
I think Mar had something really similar. Mar tends to think of themselves as sort of in case of fire, break glass, and they were staying at their natural response would be to stay out of that conversation, but then they realized, oh, I kind of have a training responsibility to these people because I've been through so much combat.
Mhm.
And I'm a doctor and a war veteran, and I can't just sit here and be a tool. I've got a responsibility to help this team, which was a brand new thought for them.
Nice.
I
Go
think Delphine is going to try to get better at combat, not because she thinks she hasn't come around completely to the we need to be running drills every other day to stay in shape, but she knows this is going to happen whether she wants it or not. So she might as well. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Mar would volunteer to train with her in a less intense environment and security, or just mess with her. One of the two.
I'm going to add that to the list of things I'd like to see.
I would too, yeah.
I think O'Connor is getting an appreciation for the philosophical discussions about sentience and AI. I think she also, with the discussion with fear with Eva, I think she bonded with Eva a little bit in that conversation.
That's really cool.
Cool. What did you or your character learn today, if anything?
I think I hit the Mars big learning moment.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Ambrose learned that he and Devasi are in a much closer viewpoint than I think he originally suspected. And there's probably a little bit more respect and appreciation there. That she understood that her crew, that her med staff were being pushed beyond what was really safe for them, and asked for a compromise and was able to find one. And took an immediate blow from that compromise and still went with it. And she
Right.
wasn't like, I didn't expect this. This is completely unfounded, yada, yada, yada. She was like, well, I see your point.
I think Teketh learned, and I think we're gonna change. I think it's gonna change what we had talked about, Brian. Teketh learned that Silva is here, but not fully on board.
All right. Yeah. I think what Silva learned is she really needs like camaraderie to like be happy, and she doesn't have that yet. But that's what she learned about herself, that she needs it.
Nice. All right. I think we'll skip good idea, bad idea this week. What did you see from another player that you want to see more of in the future? If anything.
This would also be good to talk about things we want to see, scenes we want to see in the future.
Right.
Yeah. I would love to see. I kind of want Yesbeth to. I don't know where I want to go with that. I'm thinking about it because like I like the idea that the captain doesn't have any faith in her, and I want to kind of keep that going. And I like that other people are saying that they do have faith in her. And I don't know. I kind of want to play in that space a little, and I'm not exactly sure how. You know.
Yet another opposite viewpoint that the captain and the first officer has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
My
Okay,
brain
I
just
was gonna
rebooted.
say.
Could you say the question again?
What did you see from another player that you want to see more of in the future? It's like, yeah, you can use that. We use the question a lot to like positive reinforcement stuff.
I would like to see more people interacting with Teketh. I think that's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
And especially now that you, John, sort of threw your mindset into where you were with Mar, I definitely want to see more of that. Seeing more of Mar's past come out as a sort of mentor, big brother, fun uncle kind of situation, where Ambrose is the other side of that, where he's I gotta drill this into you. You guys gotta be ready. And Mar's a bit easygoing, but just as effective.
I really like that. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
I think really the only thing that I have for this question is the thing that I just keep coming back to with this group is the proactivity. We keep doing the idea to use Tongo as the recap and the character development and the conversation between sessions about here are the things that we'd like to see. So I would like to see more of that.
And we ran like an hour and a half with no prompts.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That makes it nice for me because I was not having a day today.
No worries.
Go ahead.
This one's kind of high level, but we seem to have a lot of people who are like really scarred by the Dominion War. I would kind of like to see like a support group for people.
Ooh.
By that.
Okay.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea.
Eventually, I do really want to have a scene between Ambrose and the counselor, because that's going to be gold.
Yeah.
Eventually. Maybe not the first time, but eventually it's going to be good stuff. And that could flow into exactly what you're saying, a sort of Dominion War POW or just PTSD support group kind of thing.
That
He's
could be
really
used
underdeveloped
as
in my mind, so I would love to find something.
That could be used as a vehicle to encourage Ambrose to engage in therapy, actually. Like sensing that hesitation, the suggestion that like you've had a lot of experience, you've seen some shit. maybe others on the ship would benefit from your wisdom and experience, and then we'll just, not talk about the fact that you are also getting therapized in this, buddy.
I like
I
it.
like it. All right. If you could change one thing about this session, what would it be?
I need to prep Teketh better.
It
You need to
took
get me an
me a
image for
long
her.
time to
I
get
did. I
Kaz's
sent
voice.
it in the thing finally,
Okay.
as we were having the conversation.
I gotcha. Okay. Sorry, what were you saying, John?
It took me a long time to find Kaz's voice tonight.
Yeah, okay. I can see that a little bit.
Yeah.
I also was having a hard time finding Eva tonight. I felt a couple times I actually hit it, but yeah. Anybody else?
I don't know. My only thing is that I wish it was longer, but I enjoyed. I thought it was great from start to finish. So
Yeah.
We do
Yeah,
make 2 hours fly by.
The hard stop at 9 is coming a little bit. The stop at 9 is going to get a little harder as we go because I will have to be getting up at 4 in the morning. So
4 in the morning shouldn't exist.
yeah, I agree. Anybody else have anything they would like to change about that session? All right. Sounds good to me. I always like it when nobody has anything to say. All right. That's it for me. We have our next session scheduled. We'll schedule the next one after that once we're off air. So, all right. That's it for me and everybody else. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Feel free to give us some feedback. Drop anything in the comments you want. This will also be put up on YouTube shortly. And if the stream didn't come out well, check it out on YouTube because I also recorded it. So if the stream came out bad, there will be a recording on YouTube. So now that we're done, I have full green bar on the streaming. So,
Of
course. Yeah.
that's how it works. So.
That's your computer telling you to keep going.
Right.
Right.
Just start all over. We'll run it again.
Yeah.
That's right. That's my computer telling me everyone else in the house has stopped streaming.
Well, Dan says the stream looked good.
Yeah, he did. So, all right, that's it for me, and we'll see you guys. We are theoretically on for next week, but it may be off, so keep an eye out for any notices. Check us out on Twitter. I'll throw it up on Twitter for anybody who's watching that wants to know. You can follow it at Studio Tembo on Twitter. So, all right, that's it for me. Let's do the roll.